welcome to Play to Practice. This month's topic is choices. My name is Rocco Camiso. I teach at Trias College. I'm also a video game designer. And today our guests are Antonio.
Hello.
Maker of DEPOWER Ball.
Yes. You can play out there in the hall once we're all done here.
Yes. We're going to have a few videos of your game. He's going to talk to us about his expertise on making a game, talking about game choices, which could not be more perfect. Today we also have running the show Kadeem from the Hand-Eye Society. We can't do this without the Hand-Eye Society and all the amazing volunteers that help us do this. And we also have Ryan. Oh, wait a second. He canceled on us last minute, and Clementine will remember that.
Oh boy, Ryan, you did him dirty, man. Yeah. Don't do that.
So we're going to talk about choices in general. First off, choices are a fundamental element that video games have that no other medium has. It allows us to have an active role in our stories, in our gameplay. Now, there's many different types of choices we have. You guys like fighting video games? Those are second-to-second choices. Do I input a block? Do I input a kick? Do I input a grab? Then you can also have things such as session-based choices. What units am I going to bring into this particular skirmish? And then finally, we have long-term choices. And those simple ones could be, which point am I going to put into my attributes? So end game, I'm a great-looking rogue or a fantastic magic user, and what have you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're also going to talk about how game designers try our best to put certain choices into the player's hands, and how sometimes those go a little bit haywire. Keep in mind, things like roll the dice and play are not choices. Maybe why Monopoly isn't the best thing and won't pretty much come up rather than right this moment. All right. So we're first going to talk about favorite video game choices on our next slide. This is one of my favorite video game choices. Who do you start off with on an epic adventure? What's your role? Fire type, water type, grass type, and whatnot. But I want to ask, what's your favorite video game choice?
Oh boy. I mean, listen, you can't go wrong with the classic with Pokemon. Personally, I really like, I mean, you kind of hinted at it with the cancellation of Ryan there, but the Telltale game series, with the choices that you make there that impact story going forward. I love me a good story game. You know, Telltale Walking Dead, one of my favorite narrative-based games because of the combination of the choices that you make that basically affect, you know, the outcome of the story permanently, and just, you know, the point and click action as well. Combined with that, it's a good mix of it. Yeah. So I would have to go with that as sort of one of my favorites in recent memory.
Yeah, it does. Telltale does an amazing job. We'll probably hit on them a little bit later.
Yep.
That's perfect. Which leads us to least favorite decisions. Now, sometimes these can be decisions that don't feel fulfilling or aren't really decisions at all. And we have a little video to go next. So he's just playing in the background. This is from the Dragon Quest series. Actually, this is from the almost all Dragon Quest series. In the very first game, there was a situation where the king would ask you, shall you defeat the evil entity in the world? And you had the option, yes, to say yes, or you had the option to say no. And if you said no, the king would say, but thou must. And then would give you the option again. And you would say no, and he said, but thou must. And you could say no again, and the game would not continue until you said yes. Not much of a choice. Yeah, right? So it's continued on to this day. I said no, and once again they drag you along and say, just say yes. Not strong choices.
What do you say, darling?
Perfect. We'll flip through. Other choices, or some least favorite game choices could be how you're playing a game and then how those end scenarios show up. This is kind of like a very well-known one. Mass Effect. Now, truly, the journey is the game, not where you get to. But this bothered a lot of players back in the day because they thought all the choices didn't amount to anything after 3 epic games. But yeah, what are some of your least favorite game choices?
One in particular comes to mind, and this is going to be very obscure because, like, I'm a big wrestling game fan, and there was a game on the PS1 called WWF Attitude, and they had, I believe it was the first one that had a story mode. It was either that one or SmackDown. I don't remember which one. It was one of them, and what it would allow you to do is if you were interacting backstage with the other wrestlers and it asked you to sort of make certain choices, didn't really seem to affect the outcome. I remember I made like one choice where it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to get the snot beat out of me by the Undertaker. Didn't happen. Still came and kicked my butt and you know and I was like, well, okay, that doesn't make sense. So very similar to this, but that one I remember from my childhood. It really irked me, and I stopped playing story mode for that reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one really sticks out in my mind.
What game choices do you wish you'd be given in a game? I'm putting this one up right now. If you guys don't know this, this is I Love You, Colonel Sanders, a finger-licking good dating simulation. Quite the funny game. This is giving the players the option to date Colonel Sanders. I didn't think we got to that, but here we are.
Dream Daddy got real popular.
Yeah,
man.
it really
and,
did.
And
That's
KFC,
a good game, though.
No, it is.
Yeah.
And KFC jumped all over that train. So kudos to them for doing, because it's getting viral.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Another one that's kind of like in that vein is Monster Prom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Never got a chance to play it, but I've definitely heard of that. Yeah. So in terms of choices I wish I'd been given, it's a hard one, because like again, I'll go back to the narrative stuff. I mean, there aren't enough narrative style games that sort of give you those choices to influence the outcome later on. There's a lot of good narrative games out there. Telltale did a fantastic job, but I still think that there's a lot more that you can play with narratively that, whether it's through game interaction or stuff like that, that really allow you to play with the stories that are being told and to actually have an active role in, the story that's being told instead of letting the game dictate that for you.
I love that you're going all narrative, because your games have a very tactile, like second feel.
So we'll get to that.
Yeah,
but, no, I mean, I did a lot of projects in university that were around narrative-based games, and it's something that I think about. I still don't have sort of your end-all, be-all answer in terms of what the next evolution of a game like that looks like.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it once it comes out.
Very cool. So I actually posed this question to one of my students, and they said, not completing the game. Now, I don't know if you guys have played games like, some of you guys should not have been playing games like Grand Theft Auto, but games like Fortnite, games like Breath of the Wild, sometimes the best choice is not completing the game. Going around and fishing or capturing horses or do outside missions, I guess is the best way of saying it. Yeah. I happen to love optional quests. I can sometimes get lost into it. Sometimes I will see the final goal in my quest and just turn around and say, no, I'm going to go back to grabbing all the doodads.
I am a completionist. If I play something, I do want to play it to the fullest. Optional quests are a good way to sort of artificially expand it, but they can be done really well and they can be done not so well. Yeah. And so it really depends on sort of the game that you're playing. Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, the latest one that was out, fantastic example of sort of, what's going on in New York City, and you just, web slinging around. Oh no, there's a robbery in progress. What the hey? I've got some time. Let's go stop a robbery. Or what the hey? Let's stop some armed criminals, from stealing that armored truck full of cash, or whatever the mission might be. And in certain genres that'll work, in others not so much.
Yeah.
But like Marvel Spider-Man, good example of optional quests. I'm a fan of them.
How high can I get?
Oh yeah,
and I was just like, that looks really good. Up
oh
there.
yeah,
I'm gonna be
why
up
not?
There.
There's going to be an achievement for that, so you might as well go try. And as long as those optional quests don't affect sort of your main storyline, like that's the beauty of open world gaming.
Yep.
Especially with Spider-Man, being superhero web slinger, going around and stopping crimes and this and that. It's good. I enjoy it.
Is there any optional quests? Do you have any achievements? Because that counts towards the same area of having players play in different styles. Any achievements in DEPOWER Ball, for example?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, it's still very much a work in progress. But achievement, like when we get to talking about it, there will be. We have like awards right now, like at the end of a match, but nothing achievement like yet. But we've got some stuff in store that I'm hoping to put in the next few months or so. So
Very cool. Now we're going to talk about video game choices that we make in game. Has there ever been, and I know this is going to sound silly, has there ever been a game, a choice in a game that you would never make in real life? Have you?
we had this conversation earlier, and again, Undertale, the genocide run.
Yes,
never ever would ever do that in the game.
I think that's a pretty long-standing one.
Yeah, that one especially.
This is talking about this is an optional thing you can do. I don't know if anyone's played Fortnite and tried to do any of the golfing kind of sub things. Yes. Games within games.
Yep.
But yeah, the genocide run is obviously a choice that players made.
Yes.
It was put there in by the programmer, Toybox, and it resonated with a fan base. Some people only played that version of it.
It got people talking.
Yes.
And for better or worse, it got people talking. And it's not like he was trying to make a statement with it. It's just that this was an option. You could go through it, see what happens.
Another big part of choices in general is when you're making a choice, what is the thing you're going to get out of it? What is the reward? But sometimes, what are the risks you're taking in order to execute that? And I can't think of a better example for a game than DEPOWER when it comes to risk and reward. This totally just was the perfect game for choices in general. So we're going to play a little bit of the video in the background and just go nuts.
Yeah, and I'll talk about sort of my mentality with the design decisions behind it. Kick that video off. It's just going to go in the background. You can see the gameplay go. Oh, DEPOWER. So this has been a project that I've been working on for the last year and a half now, part-time. It all started at a game jam last year, Toe Jam. That's where it started. I had this idea in mind that sort of manifested itself into this. But what happened was the theme of that year's Toe Jam was winning is for losers. And, doesn't necessarily, it's an interesting theme, but, look at them go there. Doesn't really, we don't really get into talking about choices there, but when it came to the gaming design decisions we made, we were like, okay, winning is for losers. We took that concept and just put it to its core. Okay, what happens when you win so much that you lose everything that is, that you own, that is on your person? And so we had this, where basically it is a dragon feeding party platformer that my artists just came up with the best graphics, where you want to feed the dragon as many treats as possible using the 4 abilities that every player is given. Every player starts off with the same 4 abilities, but what happens is every time somebody wins a round, you lose an ability. And what ends up happening is that there's actually a lot of things happening. As a player, if you're really in tune with the gaming with the aspect of the game, you could choose to sort of hang back, let the other players win those first few rounds, and force other players to take those abilities away from them so that you can see sort of what you're working with. But then also from the other standpoint, if you win a round, the other players get to decide what to take away from you. And there's a lot of conversation that goes on in that, okay, what is the winning player good at? What abilities do I have left? There's all these decisions that you have to make within 15 seconds that in the end could affect sort of the general outcome of the match. A game like this with a rapidly shifting meta round by round every 30 seconds or so, it's been done in other forms. Ultimate Chicken Horse, great example. Definitely took a lot of design decisions from that game. But in Ultimate Chicken Horse, you get to mess with the level. In here, you get to mess with other players directly. Yeah. And it is literally when we first got set up the demo, we had this brother and sister duo that were going at it for a good 20 minutes because they just couldn't get enough of taking abilities away from each other.
It's a great way to end friendships. Let me just put that out there right now.
If you're playing this game as a couple or as a sibling or as a friend group, if by the end of it you're not at each other's throats, then I have not done my job as a game designer. But I think, as it stands right now, we've got something great going here. So definitely.
Yep. So for players, they feed the dragon. There's those little red.
Yep, those little glowing treats right there. You want to grab them. You want to land on the platform, feed the dragon.
And every time the player that does that the best.
Yeah, exactly. So right now, Goat scored 4 points. Goat will win this round because the Goat has already won one round. They're going to lose another ability in addition to their laser, which the other players will then vote. And once they make their votes, unhappy Goat, he has now lost his speed completely.
Every step towards victory.
Every step towards victory
is just harder that.
Yep, and that's the thing, right? And it's a wonderful balancing mechanic too. That it was half stumbled upon, half intentional, because you could have those expert platformers, like start running away with the game early, and then if they can't adjust to the shifting conditions of the game over. We had a couple of Smash Brothers competitive players play this at EGLX last year with a bunch of just like regular consumers, and it was very fun to watch them interact. The Smash Brothers, like the competitive players, they got off to a quick start. The casual players caught up, and it ended up being a really competitive match. So those are the kind of things that I try to influence with this.
And you can see that right away, which totally leads into house rules, right? And I'm glad you said Smash Brothers because there was a meta there for a while that was just adapted by the community. Fox, Final Destination, no items.
Oh, yeah.
And this here seems like it was based off of that old school, like popcorn chips, play some GoldenEye, play some Smash Brothers, play some whatever it's going to be.
I mean, house rules, it's interesting because, like, I think every sort of game you'll have, like, there's the potential for that. With this, I try to make every level that we build as sort of even playing as possible so that players can just jump in and there's no real aura of randomness. Like there's another level, you won't see it in this video, but you'll see it out there that we just finished called The Kitchen, where the dragon's actually trapped inside this giant monster oven, and in order to deliver your treats, you actually have to ring a bell that will open the oven door and then deliver it at that time. So again, another choice you have to make. Do I open the oven door now and bank on nobody else delivering a treat at that time? Or do I wait until I have a treat, open the door, and pray that I get there without other players stopping me? So those are the kind of sort of level interactions that, we're going to pepper in throughout the game as we sort of build towards a full release.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, and you can play it out there once we're done here.
But they can pick up right now on itch. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what we did was we released the original prototype. So not this particular version. It's a much older one. That's on itch right now. So you can go ahead and download it and try it out. We're about to launch a closed alpha very soon.
Very cool.
So actually there are some business cards that if anybody wants in on the alpha, you got to join the Discord server, fill out a form. We're about to launch that hopefully within the next week or two. Still shoring up some final elements there before I want to let players loose on it. But yeah, just a matter of getting playtesters in and playing it.
Fantastic. Does anyone have any favorite house rules in video games that they like to play? Any kind of rules that they like to make up while they're playing any of their favorite games? One of my personal favorites was, I know this is an old game, but GoldenEye, Odd Job Only, Slappies. Just going around, karate chopping each other the entire time. Took forever, but man, it was one of my favorite goofy modes.
I remember playing that, yeah. Slappy mode. Slappy mode with anyone in GoldenEye was fun.
A really weird one is, we're talking about Monopoly at the start. Who here puts money that they lose
free parking?
Into free parking?
Free parking.
Who here has ever played Monopoly and put money into free parking?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a lot of hands, right?
Definitely.
That's not part of the rule sets. That's a well-known house rule that everyone just observes. Normally, it'd be
played way too many games.
Certain character selections would be off the table. You just can't play as that person. I like certain countdown games where you'd be playing with a buddy. He's like, all right, cool, you beat me with that character 3 times. He's gone.
Yeah.
Put away the Akuma, put away the Ryu.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if character's broken, you'll even see those type of rules implemented in tournaments, right? I mean, you have the Final Destination one, again, perfect example, but you'll see them in other tournaments too, where they'll only allow certain levels to be played. Again, when it's all said and done there, whenever I hold a tournament, I want to make it no house rules, no holds barred, go for it kind of thing, right? So.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much. This has been Play to Practice for September 2019. And I just want to say a big thank you to the Microsoft Store.
Yes.
the Hand-Eye Society and Trials College. We can't do this without their help.
Nope, absolutely not.
Antonio, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, round of applause.
Yeah.